danger, mystery, and adorable Victorian vampires. What? I can't help it. The art in this game is just so cute. Tonight, we're playing the demo for a new indie otome game about solving a mysterious death in a Victorian setting rife with vampires. There is never a 0% chance of cannibalism. And tonight, we have a lot of questions to answer. Yeah, so let's go. I've always wondered how slow time feels for adult vampires. For the fleeting time I was a vampire as a child, it was like a never-ending summer afternoon. Is that because you're immortal? What do you mean a fleeting time? Some days, I could play the day away with no heed for the time. I could explore every room in the manor thrice over, running from every corner to the next. Other days, the hours slinked by, every second dripping by slower than the last. Even the shades couldn't shield the manor from the oppressively sticky heat of summer. Every step felt slower than the last. But for adult vampires who age at half the rate of humans, is it that same feeling of being stuck indoors during the longest summer day of the year? Or is it more akin to sitting in a backed-up doctor's office or watching the fire crackle during the first snow of the year, or waiting on a train that's forever delayed? This is so poetic, honestly. It's really beautiful writing. It's annoyingly introspective thoughts like this that creep their way in as I have nothing to do but watch the grandfather clock tick closer and closer to the half-hour mark. A whole half hour I've sat here, waiting for nobody apparently. All of the cordial letters and handcrafted gem samples that had been sent were a sham or a prank. Once we agreed to meet in person to finalize the business proposal, he hightailed it elsewhere. I clenched the body of my dress. The clock chimes in mockery of me. I clench. Yes. Not even a servant has so much as entered the room or hallway to inform me of his tardiness. The grandfather clock's chime echoes in the room. I glance outside. The day is almost over, but there's still some daylight left. Time better spent outside than in here. I ease my shoulders, promptly standing, and I leave. The nerve of him! To gush about how interested he was in my business proposition, to boast about how perfectly handcrafted his gems were, only to stand me up. If another letter from him arrives, I'm tossing it in the fireplace. As we should, girl. I trudge down an alleyway, not wanting to hit the crowds walking down the main street in the broad daylight. At this time of day, the sun feels its brightest and most headache-inducing. The back alleys, however, are always a pleasant source of shade in areas of town devoid of trees, perfect on a hotter day like this. But they're also perfect for hiding people. A darkened figure tags along about a block's length from me. I skip to another alley. He follows. I press against the wall as I pass by a few workers in another alley, turning at an intersection while I'm obscured behind them. He still follows. I'll have to do something more drastic. That doesn't sound good. I double back to the first alley, making a long circle, well, square, to get there without running into him. The stairwell of the building just juts out just enough to hide myself with, so I lay in wait there for my pursuer. No one appears from around the corner. Oh, maybe he gave up already. I have a feeling he didn't actually give up. I lean forward to look down the alleyway, but something tugs on my hair ribbon. Something's tugging on my hair. Girl? Hey! What do you think you're doing? Giving chase. Looks more like you're running around up to no good. You're no fun. What are you doing out of the meeting so early? I went in to check on things and nobody was around. They are so adorable. These sprites, stop. Why are they so cute? I skipped past my brother, ignoring his question. Hey, come on. Excuse me. Come on, I want dinner. Ugh. He didn't show up, did he? It's just like a brother to tug on your ribbon like that. He must have thought he was too good for my offer. You'll see. He can't get far without help. Yeah, he totally ignored our business proposition. How dare he? I grip my teeth. I can feel Nemo looking at me with pity. Don't pity me. All right, let's go home. I turned back to grab his arm, but instead, I met with a hand pushing down on my head. Hey! I'm sorry he was a no-show. You'll find a better fit soon. Just don't try to rush these things. It's not like I'm gonna kick you out. You don't even own the place, you moocher. I'm not a moocher. What's his name? That's how marriage Oh, I'm not a moocher. What's his is mine. That's how marriage goes. Someone who avoided commitment like the boogeyman, he sure is bragging about it a lot now. Come on, let's go home. He lends me an arm, leading us out of the valley. The alley. I can't read today, God. The floorboards creak underneath our feet as we step down the hallway to our flat. Darkened wood lines every wall, making the space feel several shades darker than it actually is. Most of the other residents should be home by now, winding down for the day. But more so than the sounds of our footsteps, the melody of a violin permeates through the hall. I got this. Thank you. You know what? That violin sounds amazing. It's soft and cautious. Each note more careful than the last. You can practically imagine someone reading from sheet music while playing the notes. There's something quite relaxing about it. Not overwhelmingly loud, but comfortably resting in the background. The piece echoes through the walls, making it hard to tell where it's coming from. As we near our own flat, though, the notes stop. I sigh to myself that we won't be able to hear it at dinner. Look at this adorable cutie. Everyone is so cute. I'm sorry to hear about that. I've heard so many good things about him. He's a jeweler who made my brooch and cravat, after all. Maybe something urgent came up. I'm sure you'll hear from him in the next day or two. I know the hair is so long. It's so long and luxurious. Cecil? How dare he? Sending all those buttery letters only to stand you up. Hi, Milky. Welcome, you stunner. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you're having a great day. We're adorable vampires now. High five with tentacles, yes. You act like it was a marriage proposal. It's a serious crime, that's what it is. It's not that either. It's a nuisance. That's a good one, Milky. That's a good tentacle high five, or whatever you want to call that. Yeah. I stab the pork chop on my plate. They're all suddenly more interested in eating their own meals. The food is rather good. Thanks partially to the cooking classes Ambrose is talking. Ambrose is taking cooking classes. Wow. But it just doesn't sit well with me, not tonight. I eat quickly, leaving a little under half of it still on the plate before heading to my room. Moonlight slinks through the blinds and across the floorboards. It bounces off of my mirror just right, hitting my eyes. I must have fallen asleep right after dinner. I don't usually take naps so late in the day. Push myself up on my bed, rubbing my eyes. It may be nighttime now, but I don't think I was asleep for very long. I can hear noises from the other room. So Nemo and Ambrose are still awake. Something on my nightstand glints. Oh, something on my nightstand glints out of the corner of my eye. It's my bottle of pills. Girl? A modern marvel of medicine to some and an expensive hoax to others. Emeralds refined to the size of a pill that have been found to be a cure for vampirism, effectively negating a vampire's heightened abilities and their dependence on blood. Oh my gosh! Y'all, that's serious. It's like we're a vampire and we've been taking emeralds to cure us, I guess. Well, I guess it's not a full cure. Right? Because you have to keep taking the pills to suppress the vampirism. What if you don't take the pills anymore? Does the vampirism come back? At just the right size, they can be digested and dissolved into a person's body. Any larger, and they can be poisonous to vampires who are weak to precious gems. Wow, I didn't know that. Taking pills regularly can turn any person, no matter how long they've been a vampire, back into a human. But whether that change is permanent or only lasts while the pills are being taken remains to be seen. So nobody's experimented with this yet, is what you're saying? While they're not a perfect cure, and are rather expensive to acquire at a small scale, they're highly effective. I haven't had to drink blood in years. Wow, girl. But I also haven't had the use of my heightened physical abilities in years. Yeah, we're taking emeralds. We're swallowing them like pills. Look, I don't care what you do as an adult. If you want to be a vampire, then fine. But I want you to wait until you're old enough to make that decision before all of your friends start aging faster than you. You know what? Real. Exactly. What a good opportunity to use the pills. Ibuprofen. The ibuprofen emoji. I turned 18 this month. I'm old enough to take these pills. I'm old enough to make my own decisions. I don't need my brother to keep looking out for me. Is this the older brother? Y'all, do I want to take the pill and not be a vampire? Or do I don't take the pill and give in to my vampiric urges? Maybe I should save it. Pill it up? Okay, Suna, we always take pills. Fair. Fair, Milky. We're gonna take the pills and not be a vampire. Here we go. Wow, did you see that little animation? Wow. I screw off the top and drop a tiny emerald pill into my palm. It's small enough to go inside a ring. Instead, I pop it into my mouth. I may have enjoyed my brief time as a vampire, but I'm fine staying human for a little while longer. I'm not ready to age slower than everyone else just yet. Yeah, we want to get a little older till we're like 25, you know, and then we can stop aging. 29 forever. Y'all, my birthday is coming up kind of soon too. I'm gonna be officially an old lady. I'm so upset. No. I take one last glance at the bottle as I stand. There are many people still skeptical about the treatment, but Mr. Douglas was fascinated by it. I'm not old. That's because you don't know exactly how old I am, Asuna. You have no clue. Precious gems have long been a dangerous poison for vampires despite their staying power and ornate jewelry. The thought of using them for medicinal purposes rather than for looks or for harm intrigued him. You're 62, so if anything, you're older than me. How dare you? No, you're not. But I'll take it, okay? I happen to know you're the reverse of that. Yeah, Milky knows how old I am. We're not telling. Nope. Zippy. Or so I thought. Him standing me up today was the final nail in that coffin. How dare he stand us up? How dare he? The nerve of that guy. I shouldn't spend the rest of the early night hours sleeping, or else I'll mess up my sleep schedule. Yeah, you don't want to go to bed at like 6 p.m. because then you're going to wake up in the middle of the night and not be able to fall back asleep. Real. Nemo and Ambrose are in the parlor, as I figured. Nemo has hogged all of the candles and minimal lights, and he looks deep in concentration on fixing the radio. Ambrose is reading the newspaper. Despite the low lighting he's left with, he isn't straining his eyes. Vampiric sight has many advantages. Still, I don't want to be their third wheel the rest of the night. I step out onto the balcony. We're all in our 20s forever, Asuna. Forever. Oh. I didn't see you were out here. No, it's all right. Cecil scrambles to his feet, suddenly eager to get up off the concrete floor. Is that one of the love interests? He doesn't have glasses on. I don't think he is. Well, I can't tell. Is he the love interest in the middle right above MC's head in the picture on the left? Is that him? Or is that somebody else? Does he have green eyes? But he doesn't have glasses on. That might be him. So, how are you doing? How do you think I'm doing? I can't believe that man, standing you up like that. We ought to tarnish his name. He'll tarnish it himself in due time, acting like that. Oh, maybe they're reading glasses. Real. I bet that is him then. Besides, I'm not sure how you, of all people, would even go about doing something like that. I'll find someone else to work with on it. Maybe I'll reach out to doctors again to gain more public approval before reaching out to manufacturers. I'm sure you can, Lucy. And besides, you can always make Nemo chase after new leads. I think he'd chase them off more than help. Your brother's grumpy. He has enough work to do around campus, but he's insistent on going with me to every business meeting, party, and more. I can't tell if he fancies himself my bodyguard or my chaperone. It's not even his family business. Though, speaking of which... You'll be dealing with all of this soon enough. Do you think your family never has to regenerate? Regenerate? Why is reading so hard today? Why? Do you think your family never has to renegotiate anything that their mining privileges are set in stone, that their workers never ask for pay increases or more benefits, that their merchant deals are lifelong. Soon you'll be going, "Oh, Lucy, how did you handle all of this? You're so brave to start so young." Yeah, that's exactly what he's going to be like. I already say that. He huffs, turning back to the night sky. For the past few years, he's had little contact with his parents. No more than greeting cards and letters he's forced to write to them just to show he's alive. Instead of commuting several hours by train from the family manor, Cecil is living here in the stylish apartment that comes with Ambrose's role as headmaster of Purdue University. Cecil and I share most of our classes, as we're both focusing on business, so we can take on our family's companies, and yet sometimes it feels like it's hard to get a proper answer out of him when I inquire about his plans for the future. Chin up. You'll get to shadow a local business soon enough. You're lucky you don't have to do that. I've got plenty of real-world experience. They'll only let me count it towards classwork rather than letting me finish school early, though. Lucy. His voice is small and short, cutting off his own words almost as quickly as they left him. What is it? Nothing. I reach over and pinch his ear. Cute. He must be childhood friend. Ow! It's not nothing if it came to you, so spit it out. It was just a stupid thought, but I was wondering if this is what you really want to do. Again, his words drift off the longer he talks. It is. I've had to live off of others' generosity for too long. People who think they owe it to my parents to keep me safe since they can't. I want to forge my own path going forward. I want to prove I can be on my own. You were slurring your words? What? Words are hard, Milky. I'm having a hard time with them reading them today, apparently. Words are hard. Well, I hope everyone is healthy. You know, no strokes, okay? Then what does that say about me? Huh? I'm sure you'll find a good business partner before long, Lucy. He barely said that, you know. He didn't want MC to hear him whisper that, you know. He wants to be our business partner. He's like, he doesn't want us to find another business partner. He's like, I'm desperately in love with you, Lucy. I've been in love with you for years, ever since we were little kids. And I just wish that you would notice me and pay attention. I just want to do business with you because that might be my only chance to get in your pants. Oh, Lucy, why can't you see me? Right? That's what's going on in his head right now. After a moment, it's clear he intends to leave the conversation at that. Cecil's family is from newer money, having made their living from mining operations for precious gems. While his ancestors may have sweated it out in the mines, the current generations live by signing deals with property owners, negotiating labor work, refining the gems, and more. The idea of an opportunity has not been lost on me. Every time I bring it up or even mention it, however, he lets the conversation drop. At least, it's a nice night out here, isn't it? I match his gaze. Far beyond the rooftops, stars dot the sky above us. They shine back at us vibrantly, almost twinkling. It's rather romantic. I'm like waiting for this to finish panning up so I could see the stars. I don't want to be so dependent on others anymore. I just want to build something myself. It didn't pan up enough for stars. For all the prestige and respect they hold, the towering spires of Purdue University do nothing to keep the sun from my eyes. The morning glare is so consistent and forceful that most students go out of their way to take the long way around to the east entrance and avoid it. You would think the sun could be more considerate and less intrusive, given the number of vampires working and learning on campus. As for Cecil and myself, we often avoid the problem entirely by winding through the gardens and taking shortcuts that only make sense when you're setting out from the headmaster's apartment. It's always the childhood friends that are hoping the MC picks them and yearns in the back waiting. Exactly, that's so real. You're so right. How infuriating. I should be drafting contracts and celebrating now. I guess so, girl. A rough sigh escapes me, more a sign of exhaustion than anything I'm expecting out of the day ahead. My classes will provide a moment's distraction at the very least. I need to keep my focus sharp and find another prospect quickly. In the future, once Cecil takes over his family's business, we can form a partnership and build a more secure chain of supply. There's no chance of that while his father's in control, unfortunately. If I recall correctly, Elm's family owns a series of retail establishments. I've no idea what business they're in exactly, but if he has some connections. Ambrose is also meeting with the university board soon, if I'm not mistaken. There are several prominent businessmen among the board, including at least 2 wholesalers and a renowned doctor. Perhaps I could convince Ambrose to arrange a meeting with at least one of them. Wait, Lucy! Cecil, what are you doing back there? Oh, now he has his glasses on. It's definitely the one in the middle. Childhood friend. And he has glasses. Honestly, I like him better with his glasses. He's a cute McGonagall. I like it. Keep the glasses on, okay? How come he wasn't wearing his glasses in the other scene? Maybe it was because it was nighttime. He was getting ready for bed or something. Maybe he has contacts. Well, to start, I saw that stray cat that's been wandering around campus lately. And then by the time I tried to get your attention, you'd gotten this far ahead of me. Yeah, he wanted to wear contacts. You know that cat won't pay you any mind no matter how many slices of roast chicken you leave out for it. Roast chicken? Wow. You know what? My animals would do anything for roast chicken. Anything. I wasn't trying to bribe it. I just wanted to show you. You move so fast when you get lost in thought. These two are so cute. Stop. They're too cute. I've not much choice in the matter, thanks to recent events. I'll have it sorted out swiftly enough. You definitely will. You have all the merchants in the city begging to partner with you before long. And someday, I'll be saying the same to you. Your cats have a thing for crackers? You know what? So do my dogs. They like carbs. A lot. They love bread. You know, they like chips, crackers, all that kind of stuff. If they can get their little paws on it. He smiles, but I know him too well to leave it at that. He's been so unsure of himself lately, but Cecil's more than capable of keeping pace with me, even if he doubts himself. He was up rather late last night, though. It's not often I see him so easily distracted either. I'll have to ask him about it later. Cecil has been my best friend since we were children. Yup, childhood friend. I called it. And he always rushes to support me, even when it puts him into danger. Even when we're in danger, he's there. I only hope he isn't wearing himself ragged by trying to keep up with me now. The university gardens are always immaculate. Students and professors alike meander through its hedges, rushing between classes or taking leisurely strolls. It's also haunted, if you believe the rumors spun from mistaken sightings of marble statues in the dead hours of the night. 5 years prior, a series of attacks by a vampire terrified the campus and kept most from venturing out after dark. I suppose classroom rumors are a sign of Purdue's recovery from that incident. Well, you know, after a while, people start to graduate, right? So, yeah, the most traumatized people might have graduated by now. 5 years prior, a series of attacks by a vampire terrified the campus. Okay, I just read that. Instead of a ghost, however, I see a tall, pale face beneath the lilac blossoms. Good. I need to catch him before class begins. I bet this is another love interest. Are you admiring the flowers? Or have you been waiting for us here? Oh, Lucy. I've shared a class with Elm for half a year now, and he saved both Cecil and I countless headaches in that time. For all the expertise and wisdom kept in these hallowed halls, most of our professors are dead set on explaining things in the most obtuse and unreasonable ways imaginable. Elm has a keen talent for translating all of their theoretical jargon into a language anyone can grasp. Ah! So he can take really technical types of things and making it so that anyone can understand it, you know? He could be a good, he could be like a reporter or marketer or something like that, you know? He is pretty hot, Asuna, not gonna lie. We need a better look at his sprite there. His family has several holdings in retail business outlets, though now that I think more on it, I don't know much about what they do or where their money comes from. Elm doesn't like to give particulars about his family. It's easy to forget details like that when we talk. He always listens intently, and he's consistently surprising even our professors with his insights. Not that you'd know from the detached air about him. No matter what the situation, Elm can always set someone at ease. Most often, I think, by taking much of their unease onto himself. Oh. Do you have a moment before the professor arrives? I'd like to speak with you about... I'm sorry. His voice is so brittle. It's usually hard to read any of expressions, but right now he's clearly preoccupied. Not today. What? I'm not in a sound state today. Do you feel unwell? You look the part, no doubt. He shakes his head. Lucy, there's something I'll tell you later. Wait just a minute now. You can't do that. You can't be like, hey, I have to tell you something. Actually, psych, I'm not telling you shit. No. Before I can ask him what's on his mind, he ducks into the classroom and makes his way to a desk. Lucy, what was Elm saying? He seems out of sorts. Are you really concerned or are you jelly? I'm not sure. It's almost as if he was in shock. You don't think he's caught a summer cold, do you? For real, Elm, speak out now or forever hold your peace. Exactly, Asuna. Tell me now or don't say anything at all. I almost hope it's as simple as a passing sickness, but I've never seen that heaviness in Elm's eyes before. Ah, the professor's on her way. Lucy, let's head inside. Yes, Hey, who's this? Wait, it's that same guy. It's Elm. Elm trudges ahead and sits down in the back corner of the classroom, far from his usual seat near Cecil and I. Why don't you want to sit next to us, Elm? Damn, I may not get another chance to speak with Elm until after class. Asking about his family business can wait. I won't leave one of my friends languishing like that. Though I'll admit it's often hard to read his expressions. Maybe it would be a bad idea to press him on anything now if he's feeling unwell. Then why did he bring it up? He is a tsundere. He's totally a tsundere. Or either that or he's like the quiet, stoic, mysterious type. He could be a kudere. He hasn't really been rude, you know? He hasn't been mean, exactly. I think kudere. Kudere. We have a childhood friend who seems rather dere, and kudere. My nose wrinkles and I force myself to follow along with the professor's droning. It can be so hard to stay awake when you have boring professors like that, real. Finding Elm after class proves more troublesome than anticipated. He excused himself partway through the lecture and never returned, and now I've not an inkling of where he might be. I doubt he's avoiding me in particular, but it does seem as though he's avoiding everyone, in which case, why would he have come to class today at all? Yeah, real, you should have stayed home if you're feeling sick. You wonder if the LI in the picture on the side is either a tsundere or a flirty love interest. Yeah, okay. I have a guess, okay. The way that he's posed, the way that his hair is, and he got a popped collar. Here are my assumptions based purely off of looks, okay? Because I know nothing about the man. Okay, the one, he's on the right. He's kind of like sitting, you know, like looking to the side, you know. I think he's going to be a flirt. I think he's going to be dangerous in a flirt, and I think he's a vampire. And I bet he's not suppressing his vampireness with the emerald pills. That's my guess. My guess is he's going to be this game's trash bando. Okay, we'll see. Dangerous, flirty bad boy. That's my guess for that dude. I sigh and pace through the campus gardens, borrowing shade from the hedgerows as I consider whether I should keep up the search or let Elm be and turn my focus elsewhere. Right? Just my type. He's probably going to be my favorite one. I love trash bandos, Lily. I love them. Perhaps I ought to reach out to another jeweler. Though if Douglas calls me again... Well, he's had his chance. Ambrose. Oh, I wonder who Ambrose... Oh yeah, Ambrose is the dude with the long yellow hair. Oh, Lucy. There's another villain in need of reprimand. It's nothing that drastic. I'll have it all sorted out before long. Provided that my brother doesn't fuss over me every step of the way. He's showing his concern as best as he knows how. You finished your classes for the day, haven't you? I happen to have a free moment, and I was planning to take a walk into town. I'd be delighted to have you join me. Ambrose offers me his elbow and space beneath his parasol. A gentle but nonetheless insistent invitation. I like Ambrose. He's far more considerate than his husband. He's taken! Honestly, Nemo could at least ask before showing up to herd me like a wandering goat. He's taken! He's my brother-in-law! I was gonna say, why can't I date him? That's why. That's why I can't date him. I take Ambrose's arm and fall into step alongside the headmaster as he walks beneath the university's grand archway and toward the center of town. I know. Rip to me. I was considering that myself. I won't refuse the company, though I can't stay for long. You won't have to worry on my account. My errand should only take a few minutes at most. I suppose he's not in today either. After his third impeccably polite knock against an ornate shop door, Ambrose resigns. His errand, as it happens, was meant to be a quick stop to see a gemsmith by the name of Fairfield. I'll have to see if Mr. Driscoll has the time. And what is it that you're looking to have crafted, I wonder? Ambrose smiles so fondly. It's obvious that he's planning some sort of gift for Nemo. Aw, cute. He's considerate. I'll tell you as soon as I can. As soon as I can be sure it's even possible. But for now, let's leave it there. Well, it's no surprise that Mr. Fairfield isn't in. He's not replied to the letter I sent him last week either, so he must have left town without giving proper notice. How strange. In that case, was there anywhere in town you'd like to go, Lucy? No, but I'm more than content to wander while we talk, shall we? I think it's probably purposeful that her name is Lucy. Kind of like the Lucy in Dracula, remember? The redhead? She was a vampire in Dracula. And we're blonde in this game, but there's a reddish tint compared to Ambrose's hair, you know? Lucy, like in Dracula. And she is a vampire. Of course. It's been considerably mild of late, though I hear there's a storm coming in from off the coast. Perhaps I should ask Nemo to fix the window shutters instead of tending to the overgrown trees around the storage building. Your last meeting went well, I take it. Was it the entire board of trustees, or just their representatives? My Lucy, you're more perceptive than some of the faculty. Of course, we're super perceptive. Ambrose closes his eyes and smiles softly, which I've come to know is a sign of resignation. I know he would rather we wander aimlessly and take this time to distract ourselves from business, but I can't let even a narrow possibility slip away. Yes, the board met earlier than usual. That storm I mentioned will make the roads unfit for travel, and many of them have business outside of Laurenburg. I can imagine what you're about to ask, but none of them are open to new business ventures, at least not yet. Honestly, aesthetically speaking, this game is really nicely done. Visually and the sounds, very aesthetic. I really like the way that it looks. How could you know that for certain? I may not have graduated yet, but if any of them have any good sense. It isn't a matter of good sense, Lucy. Ambrose sighs as we turn into the busy town square. The sun-battered awnings and ivy-covered eaves keeping us in the cool shade. We lost the first quarter of our meeting to one board member's complaints over snake oil salesmen in his hometown, and another swore up and down that she'd been swindled by a jeweler passing off tinted glass as a ruby. I know for certain that a few of them would be interested in the prospect of a treatment for vampirism, but this isn't the best time. That's a sensible conclusion. But do you really think I couldn't convince them? Regardless of whatever huckster they might be ranting about, I'm living proof that there's a cure for vampirism within our grasp. So not everyone has access to this cure. Yeah, you can definitely tell that they put a lot of effort into this game for sure. I wonder if it would be worthwhile to stop taking my pills just long enough to use my blood arts again. All I need to do is prove that I'm a vampire, and then I have no doubt that you could convince nearly anyone. It's not that I worry you might fail, Lucy. It's just that I'm worried you'll push yourself to the point of collapse. You've worked diligently and almost without rest for months now, Lucy. I'm worried that you're driving yourself to exhaustion.
Ha! I'm hardly close to being winded, much less exhausted. Success in business often comes down to timing and seizing opportunity, doesn't it? And I certainly need to find another opportunity soon.
Ambrose pauses in the center of the street, and the crowd parts around us, as if we're standing on a small boulder in the middle of a rushing stream. I promise you that I'll tell you the moment I cross paths with a potential partner or investor, and you've already crafted a remarkable business plan. I think you could easily afford to take things slowly for a time, even if only for a few days. Though the look on your face tells me that you disagree.
I don't see how I can rest on my laurels when I don't even have a supplier. I can't very well market a cure for vampirism if I have no way to actually offer it. It's not as though it's easy to procure gems of the appropriate purity. The cost alone is prohibitive, let alone the time and skill required to process each pill. I have to solve this problem first. Otherwise, I can't even take the next step.
You're going to have to figure out how you can dilute the pills, or dilute the materials in order to create the pills and have the same success as far as suppressing the vampirism, you know? I can feel my grip tighten around Ambrose's arm, but he says nothing. Relaxing again, I take a step forward and he matches my pace. Someday, I'm certain that vampires who wish to become human will be able to do so with the same ease as one might treat a recurring headache. And when that day comes, it will be a result of all your work and effort. Thanks, Ambrose.
Thanks for your advice and your concern. I'm more than comfortable at this pace, however, and once I secure a viable partner, I'll have plenty of time for leisure and relaxation. At least for a few hours, I expect.
Ah, speaking of which, have you not heard anything from Douglas yet? He seems worried. Far more than I expected he would be over hearing about a missed appointment. Unfortunately, I can't afford such sympathies right now.
Not a word, but it hardly matters. I won't waste any more ink on unreliable cards like him.
That's concerning. I could understand if he didn't contact you yesterday evening, but to ignore you into the afternoon. Perhaps he's taken ill. We aren't far from his offices, if you'd like to stop in.
A waste of time, I expect. Thank you, though.
I am grateful, in spite of the circumstances. Ambrose could hardly bear any blame for a jeweler's negligence, though I'm sure he feels some responsibility since he's the one who vouched for Douglas as a trustworthy prospect.
I'll consider it once I've taken care of other business.
I'm sure it's a simple misunderstanding. A bell chimes above to mark the quarter hour. Ambrose waits patiently as the sound fades into the din of the town square. Then gestures back toward the university. It seems I'm out of time, unfortunately. I've got another appointment soon, so I'll be heading back. Are you returning to campus as well?
No, I think not. I'll see you tonight at dinner, Ambrose.
Of course. It should be a crown of lamb, provided I'm not held up by the faculty. Goodbye for now. What a fancy dinner. Ambrose turns, and I let the shadow of his parasol slip away, leaving me in the sun. This is a very rich family. The afternoon crowds have filled the town square with laborers and tradesfolk winding through the bakeries and market stands on their lunch break. Carriage wheels and newly shod horses leave a dull staccato in the air as they pass one another in the street. Shop bells ring one after another. A large fountain babbles conversationally to the people gathered around it. And in the distance, a small crowd applauds. I consider that Douglas's office is on the far end of the square. The sound of a violin catches my ear. Is that what warranted the applause I heard? There's something both immediately familiar and uncanny. I've never heard this song before, and certainly never in this place, but the melody feels eerily nostalgic. You can't hear it, but there's a violin. Well, it just stopped. There was a violin, okay? I suppose a skilled performer can evoke all sorts of emotions in their audience. Let's see what sort of person this fiddler is. The quick triplets and rich vibrato echo through the plaza, but actually seeing past the gathered crowd is becoming a hassle. A group of taller men in particular stand right in the middle, and I've half a mind to drag them to the back of the audience. There are people behind you, you dolts. It's so annoying when you're in a crowd trying to see something, and the tall people are right in front of you. Right in front of you. Or they have children on their shoulders, and then you really can't see. Especially if it's a tall person with a child on their shoulder, then they're like 8 feet tall. Nobody's seeing past that. Nobody. I reach forward to pry the wall apart when the fiddler strikes a sharp chord and leaps up onto the fountain's edge. They raise their violin up and their fingers dance across its neck. The audience claps to keep time. A bubbling warmth rises in my chest and I can't look away. Why is he all enshrouded in mystery? What's up with the mask and the cloak? It's definitely annoying because you're 5 feet tall. Real. I'm only a little bit taller than you. Just a little bit. I'm almost 5'4". I'm 5'3.5", but I tell everybody I'm 5'4". They wear a mask, but they're clearly quite handsome. Their slicked back hair shines in the afternoon sun, and their hands cradle their instrument with a fierce delicacy. What do you want to bet that's the final love interest? I bet you anything it is. And the sound, I don't know where they were trained, but they're bursting with energy as if they can't help but draw their bow across the strings. It's enchanting. I've attended a fair number of performances in my life, from full chamber orchestras to unaccompanied singers in a roadside tavern. It's been years since I've heard a performance so desperate and impassioned as this. It's almost as if they're gasping for breath, and that violin is the only air they can breathe. Finally, the middle-aged man barring my path steps aside, and I move a little closer to the front for a better look at this masked fiddler. A moment passes where they look my direction. Despite the mask, I can tell our eyes meet. But MC's already talking about how he's beautiful and all this stuff. You know, MC already has the hots for him. So I think that's going to be him. We'll get a better look at him hopefully soon, so we can find out for sure. But I think that's probably him. Well, he doesn't have the sideburns, though. A moment passes where they look my direction. Despite the mask, I can tell our eyes meet. Their bow hangs for a half beat too long, and they hop back down to finish the song. Before I can find them again, a round of applause rings out, and the people around me plead for an encore. Or what if he's an enemy? What if he's a secret love interest? That could be the case. The clasps of an instrument case click shut. Are they leaving already? I need to get their name, at the very least. A musician with that level of passion and talent could do better than busking in the square. I would love a secret. This is totally the kind of game that should have a secret LI, you know what I mean? And I wouldn't mind hearing them play privately for me either. See, MC has the hots for a Masuna. MC's like, oh, he's so handsome, I could tell even though he has a mask on. Oh, I want him to play for me privately. Oh, yes. That's what MC is like right now. MC's thirsty for this dude, okay? She's already down bad, right? Childhood friend, she's like, whatever. Elm, she's like, you know, I don't know what his deal is. He's not letting me into his life. He's being a kudere. And then here comes this talented, hot musician who's mysterious. You know nothing about him. And she's like, oh, yeah, maybe he'll do a one-to-one violin lesson with me. Have fun. Have fun watching the kiddos play, Milky. And thank you for being here, you stunner. We had a good time with you. Wait. There's no path forward. Eventually the crowd breaks and people start dispersing in a dozen directions. By the time I reach the fountain's edge, the masked fiddler is gone. I sigh to catch my breath. That's likely for the best. I almost let myself get carried off track. Yeah, girl, you were about to ask him for his number. Handsome musicians are a hazard in many ways. She's like, oh, he's so beautiful, I'm going to get myself into trouble. I wonder what the business prospects are like for the agents and representatives of popular performers. You could be his manager, girl. Aren't you already taking on enough work as it is? I'm more capable than I was when I was a child, Nemo. More capable of running yourself ragged, maybe? I glower at him. And what have you come into town to fetch? Nemo lifts up a bundle of meat wrapped in butcher's paper. A crown, apparently. Come on. I'll walk you back unless you still got business here. No. I sigh and let my shoulders sink. Let's go then. I'm getting hungry. You know this is for dinner, right? Don't worry. I'm not going to eat your husband's crown. Nemo holds his arm out, and I take it as we move through the din of the afternoon traffic. In a short while, we'll be back at the apartment, and I'll need to start drafting more inquiries and preparing samples. I'll consider what Ambrose said earlier. If I can secure a reliable supply of gems, then I can prove the treatment's effectiveness more easily. The evening will pass uneventfully, and by week's end, I'll forget all about Douglas's audacity and insult. But that calm, unremarkable future doesn't come to pass. As we wind through the square and emerge from an alley, I catch a glimpse of the building where Douglas keeps his office. 5 police officers are gathered around the open doorway in a huddle, while other officers filter in and out of the narrow hallway. What's happening? Is he getting arrested? We're like, serves him right for not taking on my proposal. Stray phrases catch my ear. One officer says, "He's been here a few hours." Another says something like, "Already going cold." "Found him earlier today, possibly since." Damn. A carriage rumbles past and drowns out the rest of the phrase. A chill sweeps over me and my feet pull me toward the ominous chatter, No reassurance or comfort are waiting for me in that office, nor in overhearing the officers outside. Even so, I walk closer. We're nosy. A rush of foot traffic floods into the street as passengers head for the train platform. In the chaos, it's easy to slip away and duck behind an oncoming carriage before Nemo could even notice I've gone. The clock chimes at the top of the hour, a moment before I reach the doorway. Outside, the police are still chattering about how hard it will be to cordon off the area and turn away gawkers. They don't seem too concerned with all the people passing in and out of the main building, though. It's almost embarrassing that I can slip in so casually without drawing a second glance. Douglas's office occupies the ground level of a fairly new yet imposing building close to the center of Laurenburg. See if the neighbors have heard anything first, and then finish documenting the scene. Call for a chemist while you're at it. That teacup smells like shoe varnish. As soon as I see who this person is, I may or may not give them a voice. Yes, sir! And you there. Check the locks on all the windows for tampering. This one's looking a lot like Fairfield case. The Fairfield case? Is that the case with the vampires? I hear an officer's voice coming from an open doorway to my left. He continues, but I can't follow his words anymore. My eyes fall to a prone, rigid form draped across a sofa near the back of the room. One of the officers steps aside, and the face of a corpse stares back at me with gaunt and glassy eyes. Oh my goodness! The officer's chatter confirms my fear. The man I was supposed to meet yesterday evening is lying dead in his office with blood caked around his lips and staining his tie. That's why he ignored us. He was dead. That's what happened. He's forgiven, okay? We forgive him for standing us up. It wasn't his fault, obviously. Meanwhile, we were all angry, you know? We were like, how dare he stand us up? Now we know what happened. You know what would be interesting to see an MC fall for a side character that isn't dateable? You know what? That would be torture, Asuna. Who would do that? Whoever would do that would be evil. I'm sure that someone... You know what? I feel like there's otome games out there where that's happened before. Where MC is like, oh, and then you can't date him. Why? Someone there? Clear out. This is a crime scene. No gawkers. My legs move before I can think clearly. Douglas is dead? How? When? The nearest doorknob is already in my hand. Good. It's unlocked. Picking the side character pushes all the allies to the side. Literally like, move! That'd be so funny, Asuna. My shin slams into a low table and I tumble backward into an armchair. Ow! The sunlight stings my eyes as if I hadn't suffered enough insult, and then my vision adjusts. I've often felt the unnerving sensation of reliving memories in a dream. It's never happened to me in the waking world, though. A grandfather clock's chime echoes through the room. I glance outside and the sun is still high above the rooftops. I clench the hem of my dress. I'm back in the same seat I occupied less than a day ago, waiting to finalize a business deal with the man now lying dead, less than a dozen feet away. That's so traumatizing. My mind swirls and my memories fray. Was Douglas already dead by the time I arrived last night? Did he die while I waited here, never realizing? On the way in, I saw 5 coppers, and inside, 3, maybe 4 others. My breath catches in my throat. Natural deaths, no matter how tragic, don't draw this level of scrutiny. Murder. I'd like to be overreaching and leaping to unreasonable conclusions, but I can still recall the odd figure I chased through the alleyways last night. That's right! There was a figure! Did they see me? Did they know I was here? Was Douglas being killed as I sat in this chair? One of them mentioned Fairfield earlier. Is that the same Mr. Fairfield that Ambrose tried to call on earlier today? Stray syllables leak out of the neighboring room, but I can't hear anything complete. If I press my ear to the wall, though... Who's there? I tear my face away from the wall and grip the arms of the chair so firmly that my nails nearly rip the upholstery. It's Elm! Wait. Hold on. I thought Elm had a different outfit on. That looks like the third love interest. Wait a second, what's happening? Oh, my apologies. I wasn't aware anyone else had an appointment today. This is crossing over into the absurd. Why is Elm here? And why has he changed his outfit completely since he was in class? I'm confused, Asuna. I hope you've not been waiting long. No, I've only arrived moments ago. Wait a second, what if Elm and the third love interest are the same dude? What if he has a twin? Good. I can pour you some tea if you'd like. No, thank you. If I may ask. Go right ahead. What exactly are you doing here? That's definitely the dude on the right in the picture. He's so cute. He's like a chibi. They're all like chibis, but not. Elm smirks. He's never smirked. At least not that I've seen. Why are you not acting like Elm? What's going on? I'm afraid you have me at a disadvantage, if I may. And he's being flirty. He reaches forward, and before I can stop him, he's lifting my fingers to his lips. Oh, Elm, stop. Elm? Ah, you've met my brother. I'm sorry for the confusion. Brothers. His brother. Asuna. He has a brother. A flirty brother. Brother? Elm never mentioned having a brother, let alone a twin. Why wouldn't he have brought that up? The brother, he's got a twin. They can both have the same Rue voice. Despite the circumstances, I'm charmed to make your acquaintance. I'm Rowan, currently the head of my family's business and estate, as of this morning. At a glance, he looks just like Elm, but the air around him is completely different. MC slowly dragged her eyes along his entire body. She devoured him with her gaze. Hi, Elm. I mean, Elm's twin brother. What's your name again? I can't remember. Oh, my. From the slight smirk tugging at his lips to the confidence in his posture, he holds himself with incredible assertiveness and poise. I allow him to take my hand in greeting, but I can barely keep track of what he says. Elm is his brother. Mr. Douglas was their father. I'm so sorry for the passing of your father. That would explain Elm's behavior earlier. Elm was in grief. He must have been grief-stricken. But meanwhile, his brother doesn't betray a trace of sadness. Why aren't you sad? Your father is dead. Yeah, who's the guy in the mask? Real. Now, the plot is thickening, Asuna. It's thickening. Why didn't Elm mention his twin to me? And why is Rowan taking all of this in such easy stride? That is such a good question. Oh my gosh. I need water. There's a lot going on.
Pleased to meet you, Rowan.
Oh yeah, that's right. His name is Rowan.
Pleased to meet you, Rowan. My name is Lucy. I'm sorry for your loss.
It's unfortunate, yes, but I've already had time to grieve. More importantly, I've been settling my father's outstanding business, and I do hope you're still interested in pursuing our options together. He wants to be the business partner now. You know what? Why did Elm even come to school at all? You know, why did he come to class? Why did he come to university when this was happening? You know, I wouldn't come to class if this happened in my family. At that, he closes his hands around mine and flashes a reckless grin. How brazen. I can see he takes after his father in that regard. I'm relieved that you came by. Oh, stop, Rowan. I saw one of your recent letters among my father's papers, and I was hoping to run into you eventually so that I might apologize in person and hear your proposal. It's a business proposal, okay? A business proposal, not the other kind.
I'm relieved to hear it about your father.
Rowan shakes his head, sullen but not unsettled. My father put his work first at all times, even to the detriment of his health. He kept unreasonable hours and regularly worked himself to the point of exhaustion at his desk. So in a way, I've been expecting this to happen almost every day for years. A colleague of ours was found dead recently, so I'm sure the coppers are just taking every precaution. I think my father was always in the greatest danger from himself.
My condolences.
A writhing, coiling knot rises in my stomach. I'm still reeling from Douglas's death and the prickling unease left by my questions about Elm and Rowan. Is their family business even stable right now? Is Rowan trustworthy? I'll have to sort it out later. At present, I need to know exactly why the police are here in such force. And I doubt that figure fleeing the scene last night was just a harmless bystander.
If you have everything in order, shall we continue discussions of our potential partnership?
Unfortunately, the day after tomorrow is the earliest I could give you the attention you and your ideas deserve.
The day after tomorrow, that's acceptable.
Thank you for your understanding. Even though I fully expected my father to work himself into an early grave, I'll need a bit more time to make arrangements for his burial. I'm sorry, Rowan and Elm. Rowan smiles easily, but despite his confidence and aplomb, he can't hide the crooked knot in his tie or stray loose buttons on his cuffs. I wonder if he's taking his father's death worse than he appears. You know, I bet he is. He's grieving too. He's just trying to play it off for the lady, you know what I mean? He's trying to be cool for the lady, but he's falling apart. Though I still don't see why the police would be so interested in a jeweler's natural death, no matter how untimely.
You have my sympathies. What time should I meet you then?
You're pretty forward, you know.
I'm not fond of delays unless they're absolutely necessary. Listen, okay, I'm a type A personality. I'm a choleric. We get stuff done, and we get it done now. And I like to be in charge, okay? So you boys better buck up and do what I say do. All right? Otherwise, you're going to have a problem, and I'm going to reject this whole business idea. But anyways, you're all going to be desperately in love with me by the end of this game anyways. All right? Desperately in love. This is an otome game after all.
A woman of ambition and charm. Let's meet at my family's manor after breakfast. It's close to the university, and we'll waste less time stepping aside for the coppers.
Perfect. I'll look forward to formalizing our partnership then.
Rowan totally looks like a vampire to me. His outfit, it looks vampire-like. As will I, Miss Lucy. Rowan bows deeply, raising his face to meet my eyes and flashing that reckless grin of his once more. He's certainly inherited his father's sense for flattery. He does have that vibe. In the window just behind the grandfather clock, I noticed Nemo searching for me among the afternoon crowds. I'm not feeling at ease with the police lingering so close by either, so it's time I head back.
Thank you again. It's a pleasure to meet you in spite of the circumstances. I'll take my leave.
Of course. We'll speak again soon. Wow, we've met all the love interests. I leave the small meeting room quietly, then hurry down the hall, slip behind the coppers, and grab Nemo by the arm to pull him into an alley. Hey, Lucy, what's going on? Where do you disappear to? Oh, sudden boyfriend-bride banish. All right, perfect timing, Asuna. Okay, y'all, boyfriend-bride banish. We have on the left Elm. I'm looking at that little picture on the left corner. We've got Elm, twin number 1. We have childhood friend. What was his name again? What's childhood friend's name again? I can't remember right now. It's not in front of me. Anyway, childhood friend. Starts with a C. You can't remember either. We have the worst goldfish brains of all time. I swear. I can't remember anything anymore. I'll play otome games and be really into them. And really paying... Oh, Cecil! Cecil. That's what it is. Cecil. But literally, I can, like, be really into a game and then start a route and then completely forget everything that happened in the common chapter. Like, what even happened? What? Why are we doing this? Who died? What? And then finally, Rowan. Okay, Rowan, Cecil, Elm. Elm, Cecil, and Rowan. You were very good job. You were the reason why I figured it out. All right, so here's what I'm gonna do, okay? Boyfriend, bride, or banish? All right, I am going to bride Elm. You know, I like his stoic coup today every now and then, you know? He's adorable. I like how he dresses. You know, I feel like we need to get to know him more, you know? We need to get to know him better. Hi, Otome Shimai. Welcome, you stunner. Thank you so much for being here. Guess what, y'all? Otome Shimai is a streamer stunner and a podcaster stunner. Let's do a shout out real quick. All right, and then the other guy, listen, okay, I'm briding the kudere. I don't know much about him. He has shown zero interest in me. Zero. Maybe that's why I like him. You know? I like him because he's not interested. He avoided me. He also had a very, like, monotone voice that I gave him. Like, I sensed that in him, you know? I don't know. I like him for some reason. I can't explain it. Bride. And then boyfriend. Boyfriend, the twin brother, okay? Rowan. He's flirty. I like that. You know, he's pretty cute, just like his twin brother. I like that. You know, he dresses a little crazy. I bet he's a vampire. You know? What if one of the twins is a vampire, and what if the other one is a human? That could be. That could be the drama. Shout out for Otome Shimai, y'all. Give a follow if you're not already. Yes. Okay, and then poor Cecil, okay? Cecil is desperately in love with us. Cecil has been desperately in love with us since he was a little kid, you know? All this time, he's been like waiting and hoping that MC would give him the time of day, that would like pay attention to him in a way that wasn't just friends. You know, we even have moments where like gazing off into the stars together. It's kind of sweet and romantic. But MC doesn't think about him at all like that, at least not yet. But you know what? I just, you know, he's too childhood friend for me right now. So I'm gonna say, unfortunately, Cecil's getting banished. Listen, okay? Man up a little bit, Cecil, and then come back again. Try again when you're bolder, okay? And you can actually ask me out instead of pining over me silently all this time. Because you could have shot, if you try to shoot your shot, you might actually get somewhere. But because you're quietly pining, right? Quietly pining, not saying anything, you know, not communicating. You know, you've got the miscommunicating trope going on. That drives me nuts. So banish. Asuna agrees. We're on the same page. Yep. Real. We're on the same page. Perfect. So yeah, that's what we're doing. Bride the kudere. Okay, that's Elm. Boyfriend the twin brother who's flirty. Because you know, flirts are excellent boyfriends. Banish the childhood friend Cecil. We couldn't even remember the dude's name. Cecil, we couldn't even remember your name for the longest time. That's also a good reason to banish you. I'm sorry. You're adorable. You're super cute. We like your glasses. Real. Big on Dares and the flirty LIs. I love flirty LIs. Real. You know what? Sometimes flirts have the best roots. You know, they're the most exciting, or they're trash. I like that. I do. And you couldn't have just told me where you were going.
Something caught my attention.
Did you notice the suspicious
figure I chased through the alleys last night when you found me?
Suspicious figure. Remember that? That was on the first night. Last night, when we first started this game. Yeah? Because that was me. Were you trying to catch a burglar to pass the time?
That was you? Well, in any case, it wasn't a burglary. In fact, this whole affair might be more involved than I anticipated.
Nemo can be overprotective at times, but he knows when to listen. He's fairly good at it when the mood strikes him. Isn't that like a brother? So he listens as I tell him everything I saw, the condition of Douglas's body, Rowan's sudden appearance, and the murmurs I heard from the police.
They wouldn't be putting this many coppers on the scene if they thought Douglas's death was natural, would they?
Probably not. Wouldn't be the first time the coppers rushed to the wrong conclusion, though. They might be certain it's murder, but they're wrong more often than a broken clock.
Now, maybe so.
You think the coppers might be right?
No, but it's strange. Rowan says he's certain that Douglas's death is natural, though he also told me that one of Douglas's colleagues died recently as well.
Y'all were like a detective. We're a cute detective. I look up at Nemo and he returns the pensive glare. I know that look pretty well. He's warning me not to dive headfirst into something dangerous. Right, Elm's twin brother. Well then, what do you think? I think it was murder. That's what I think. I think it was murder, and I think it was a vampire because there was blood. Okay? I think he got bit. I think he got chomped. What if it was Rowan that did it? There's no way. There's no way. There's no way. But what if? I bet Rowan's a vampire. He's totally dressed like one. Also, vampires are said to be flirty. You know? It's how they get their victims. About Douglas. What? Hold on a second. What if he gets back up? You know? What if they just think he's dead? What if he got attacked by a vampire and then they think he's dead and then he actually comes out the grave like a real vampire? What if he turns?
About Douglas's death? I'm not sure. He looked...
Pallid skin, blood dribbling down his neck, staining his shirt, the emptiness in his eyes. See? Pale skin, blood going down his neck like he got bit. I bet you he's gonna turn. True, what if he pretends to be dead? Asuna, did I tell you how tuberculosis and vampires are connected? So here's the story, okay? This is historically accurate, all right? We would not have tales of vampires if it wasn't for tuberculosis. Now, some of the symptoms of tuberculosis are their pale skin, you look real sickly and sallow and pale, sunken eyes and all that kind of stuff. And a lot of times there's bleeding, okay? Like people cough, they cough up blood when they get the consumption, you know? Or they'll have like blood trailing down their lip and stuff like that. And there can also be sores and things, I believe I read, where people can be bleeding in other places. Yep. And so in the past, people thought that vampires were a real thing. Like when you started to get sickly, they're like, oh, instead of being like, oh, they got tuberculosis, they'd be like, the vampire's been draining the life out of them. The vampire comes at night and sucks their blood. Got to keep the windows closed, right? But in reality, they're sick. And then here's the thing, okay? So when they die, when the body dies, and they put them in the tomb, the bacteria starts to like bloat the belly out. So people would be like, oh, my family member died and they're in the tomb and all this stuff. And then they'd go and check on the body later. And the body would have blood still coming out. They'd see blood coming out their mouth and their belly looking bloated. Like they just went and fed on blood. And they're like, oh my gosh, they're a vampire. They must have got up in the middle of the night and went and sucked on somebody's blood, and half of the family is sick with tuberculosis, but to them, they're like, oh my gosh, they're getting weaker and weaker. The vampire must have come in the night and got in the house and bit all of the family members. That must have been what happened, right? And so then they couldn't figure it out that it was a disease. They thought it was the dead body getting up and coming and chomping people at night. And so then they were like, well, the only way we can stop it is if we chop off their head and drive a stake through their heart. That'll stop it, right? Nope, but it didn't stop it. And then they'd be like, well, we got rid of that vampire, but there must be others. There's always another vampire. And that's what happened. Exactly like Hakuoki. Well, anyways, now we all know a little bit more about vampires and tuberculosis.
I'm no expert on these things. I didn't see any obvious wounds, at least.
Come on, let's get home and get some dinner. Perhaps the coppers are leaping to conclusions, as they often do. I can't deny the shock that Douglas's death has caused me, nor the uncertainty that Rowan's appearance has brought about. Nemo and I talk about possibilities and contingencies for my future business all the way home. Not that he knows how to navigate such matters with the requisite delicacy. We part at the university gates, and for the next several hours until nightfall I try and fail to find any trace of Elm. Where is Elm? Why is this man missing? Suspicious. Where is my husband, Elm? Okay, he's not really my husband in the story, y'all, but I like him, okay? What an exhausting day. It feels as though I woke up a full week ago, and I've been running without a rest since then. Of everything that happened, though, I find that there's one in particular that won't leave my mind. Okay, what won't leave my mind? What worries could be on Cecil's mind as of late? Elm seemed so distraught. Okay, you know what? I'm not asking about Cecil. Okay? I don't care what Cecil's worried about. Okay, there's vampires and murders happening, okay? Right? Cecil's fine. Elm seemed so distraught. I want to check on him tomorrow. That I do want to check on him. Rowan and his oddly relaxed demeanor, what is he thinking? You know, true. You know, but I'm not as curious. I'm more curious about his brother who ran off. That handsome fiddler in the town. Oh, the fiddler. The handsome, can I date him? Who is the handsome fiddler? Okay, Asuna, do you want to learn about the fiddler or do we want to learn about Elm? Which one? Okay, you're right. I gotta save it. You're right. Okay, the otome senses are tingling. You want to see the fiddler. I get you, girl. Okay, here we go. Okay, we're returning now. We saved it so we can come back later. All right, it's time for the handsome fiddler. Drink actual water. Yes, I need that. Thank you. That fiddler in the town square was so enchanting. In the midst of a tumultuous day, that brief moment when I listened to their performance was a desperately needed respite. Girl! What if this was the figure on the night of the murder? It could be! It could be! I'm shocked that I've never seen someone so skilled around the city before. Have they only arrived in Laurenburg recently? It could be a murderer or a vampire. A vampire that's not trying to suppress their vampirism. I haven't heard of any new performing troupes or orchestral companies passing through. I suppose they could be a lone traveler, though. That mask they wear isn't common either. I wonder if... The Phantom of the Opera is here, inside my mind. There I am, an opera star now. No, that's enough. I can't while away the night, daydreaming about handsome musicians, for heaven's sake. Thank you. Thank you. If I'm fortunate, perhaps I'll hear their music again. For now, though, I should rest and recover from today's events. Thinking any further will only tie my brain into knots, and I've not the time to untangle that. And more than that, even these thoughts can't keep the ghastly image of Douglas's lifeless face from intruding into my memory. Sleep will help. Yes, you need to sleep. You need to just get through this day and get into tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow will be a better day. You've had a bad day today. Yes, I'll sleep. And I can only hope that tomorrow is a calmer day. Wow! Y'all, this game is so good. I'm in, okay? I really like this. I'm really, like, gripped by the mystery. I want to know about the masked man. I want to know what happened to Douglas. I want to know what the heck is going on with Elm. Why is he running? And why isn't, why isn't flirty twin brother acting more distraught? Does he have something to do with this? Though he was seeming a little unraveled, so maybe he's hiding his emotions. Ugh, there's so much to discover. Also, MC is a vampire. Well, who else is a vampire? I bet there's other people out there who are pretending to not be vampires who are clearly vampires. Right? Right? Nostalgia can be an insidious thing. It's all too easy to hold fondness for memories when the pain of the moment dulls and you remember only the simple sweetness and thrill. One particularly bright summer morning, I catch myself getting wistful. And I think about the time I spent darting through empty classrooms on campus, hiding out in hay lofts and scouring back alleys while I searched for answers. What if all the vampires are like diabolic lovers? If that's the case, y'all better get out of town, quick, get out. Get out! We can't have diabolic lovers, vampires, no. In spite of any excitement I felt 5 years ago when Cecil and I planned stakeouts to search for my parents' killer, my memory of that time is still stained with tears. Oh, girl, that's what happened to your parents. Oh, no. Is that why you're a vampire? She got turned into a vampire at a young age. Whenever I feel a nostalgic pang, as I pass by a classroom and recall the fun I had roaming free in Laurenburg, I remember how many nights I spent crying myself into restless sleep. That's why our brother's been taking care of us so well. I don't even remember my parents properly, and just learning of their deaths devastated me. Tears and clenched fists, and bared fangs, and reckless adventure all led me to an even more painful answer in the end. Grief never follows a convenient course, and there are rarely simple villains who dispatch will close all your open wounds. Elm and Rowan lost their father just hours ago, a father they both knew and spoke to every day. No, perhaps that's not right. I don't actually know anything about Elm's relationship to his family. Do I? In all the time we've known one another, he never mentioned that he has a twin, or that his father was a prospective business partner of mine. I'm sure I mentioned the deal to him at least once while we were studying after class. Yeah, why didn't he tell us anything? Why is he so mysterious all the time? That's so suspicious. Rowan's face keeps coming to mind as well. He was charming, inviting even. If I hadn't seen his father's corpse moments before we met, I might have even had butterflies in my stomach. Down bad for the twin brother. That familiar mixture of confusion, excitement, and mystery on the edge of terror fills in the space between my thoughts again. Oh my gosh. Sitting at the front of a classroom, I can't keep the whirl of memory and curiosity from distracting me. If Rowan was so unfazed and moved on so quickly from his father's death, was their relationship really that bad? So, then why is Elm so distraught? Even now I can tell he's barely paying any attention to the professor. Though if he's close to his father, why has he never mentioned either his family or his sibling? Of course, the most salacious possibility could be true. I already entertained and dismissed the notion that Rowan had killed his father to take over the family business, and that Elm is living in fear of what might happen to him in the aftermath. MC's like, I thought it, okay? I thought it, and I decided, nah, no. Maybe Elm and Rowan are not on good terms. You know, real. MC, you don't know these people very well, okay? And also, people don't have to tell everyone in class about, like, who their parents are and stuff. You know, that your classmates, they don't owe you their life stories. It's not that weird for him to not have told you all that kind of stuff. You don't need to know. You know, like, he's been friendly in class, you studied together, okay, whatever. But it's not unusual for him to not be forthcoming with personal details about his life. It was my first and immediate suspicion after leaving Douglas's office. But Nemo and I both agreed that it was unlikely, at least, if Rowan were the killer. He could have chosen a far more convenient time and method that would draw less suspicion on himself. Yeah, that part. Yeah, Asuna, he's grieving. and he's grieving. So maybe that's why he disappeared, because he doesn't want other people to see him cry. You know? A lot of people don't like other people to know that see them crying and upset. I've done that, you know, I've been upset before, and I'm like, you know what? I'm leaving and I'm going to lock myself in my room and I'm not coming out until I feel better. Real. Nobody needs to see that. I'm not fully convinced that he is innocent, of course, but I'd like to believe him. Perhaps I'm just extending goodwill to him because of my concern for Elm.
And that will be all for today. We'll be discussing the next treatise on currency exchange later this week, and you may call upon me if you have any questions. In the meantime, class dismissed. Elm, wait there.
Hey, Elm, we're gonna tackle this man.
Yesterday, I met your twin, Rowan.
A twin brother? Truly? Elm, why didn't you tell us? Does he attend school here too? I didn't. There's been a lot happening lately. Girl, what if he didn't want everyone knowing that? You just busted him out in front of the whole class.
Yes, I heard about your father.
Girl, what if he doesn't want everyone to know this personal business? Girl. God, girl. Stop, okay? At least pull him to the side and talk to him privately.
Elm, I'm sure you've had your reasons, but why did you keep all that a secret from us? I may be entering into business with your brother, and I want to know.
Girl, you are so nosy. Stop. This is none of your business, okay? Whoever you're doing a business deal with has nothing to do with him unless the business deal is with him, okay? Just because he's related to these people doesn't mean that this has anything to do with you. Elm shouldn't have to say what's going on, Lucy. Exactly. I stopped suddenly, and the rails of my thoughts vanished beneath me. What am I expecting of him now? What is it that I really want to know? I don't know. Elm looks exhausted and anxious. There's a miserable, icy weight in the pit of my stomach. Why do I feel so incensed? Girl, this ain't about you. Quit making this about you. I was gonna do business with them, girl. He just lost his father. Who cares that you didn't know who his family was? It has nothing to do with you. It's nothing worth mentioning. We should get going. There's another class coming in soon and... Elm, is that true? Wait a moment, Lucy. Do you mean that scoundrel who stood you up is Elm's father? I'm sorry. I need to go. There's an appointment and... Oh my gosh. Cecil did not need to be here for that. She could have talked to him privately and then talked to Cecil later and told him privately, like, hey, don't say anything. But it turns out that was his father. So don't word vomit in front of him in class next time you see him, okay? Stop with the word vomit. God, it's so awkward. Elm backs away as he stammers out his words, his eyes never meeting my own. I reach to grab his shoulder, but he's even quicker than I expected. He leaves Cecil and I standing in the midst of the other students filtering through the classroom door like water over a weir.
Let's follow him. I'm worried about where he might wander.
Girl, let him go. Don't follow him. Definitely should have been private matter instead of humiliating it in public. Exactly. Okay, he's grieving. Okay, this is his business. Everybody and their mom don't need to know about this. I think I'll leave him to you, Lucy. Cecil gives me a sheepish smile and ducks away. Good choice, Cecil. Word vomit. I forgot something earlier, so I'll stop by town to fetch it. Don't wait up for me.
What did you forget? I can lend you my books if you need.
I don't think Cecil is even listening by now. Is he anxious about excavating Elm's family secrets? He should be. It's none of his business. He hurries away, waving an apology as he goes.
Wait! Cecil!
He doesn't wait, though. There was soot on his knuckles. That closes off any room for doubt. He's absolutely hiding something. And knowing Cecil, he's liable to get in over his head before he realizes he should ask for help. Well, I'm not about to let him leave at that. Accepting that I can see Elm already making his way into the hall, if I lose sight of him now, I may not be able to find him again until the day after tomorrow. All right, Asuna, are we following Cecil or are we following Elm? I feel like we need to follow Elm and apologize. We need to be like, oh, hi, Elm, listen.
Listen, Elm, I'm really sorry for calling you out like that in front of the entire class.
You know, she's not going to do that, no, because she's not even thinking like that, you know? It hasn't even dawned on her that that behavior was inappropriate. And Cecil, who knows what Cecil's going off to do? I was going to say if she's following Elm to pester him then. No. All right, let's go pester Elm. We're going to pester Elm. We're going to save the game. This girl, real. Oh my gosh. As much as I'd like to know what's got Cecil rushing off so suddenly, I know he'll tell me in time. Elm, though, real. Cecil will tell us everything, okay? All we have to do is blink our pretty doe eyes at him and he's gonna spill everything, all the beans. All the beans will be spilled, okay? Because he's desperately in love with us and he's got word vomit, okay? He's got hoof and mouth. He can't keep a secret, okay? He can't do it. All right, Elm. We're gonna go pester you. He should be only a few paces down the hall, and he isn't even walking quickly, but every step toward him feels like I'm walking through lapping waves. I'm anxious. I was too focused to notice it sooner, and now I've only got the span of a few yards to think of what I'd say. I need to know why he kept his twin's existence a secret. What do I say to someone who lost their father just 2 nights past? Wait, where's he gone? I only hesitated for a moment. He's probably on his way back to his manor, right?
Elm?
No reply, though I expected as much. I'm not in shoes built for sprinting, but I can manage 100 yards at least. I recall the directions Rowan gave me well enough. I should be able to follow the roads there and catch Elm along the way.
Hey, sorry for your loss, and now I'll be off to not bother you.
That's what she should say, Asuna. That's what she should say. She's gonna run and tackle this man. Unless he's running at a breathless pace, I should at least be able to catch sight of him before he shuts himself away, and I can easily keep up this moderate pace for longer if I need to, but I don't. There's no reason to keep running. You want to see a CG of her running? Honestly, me too. I move past a pair of sullen, downcast faces beneath a blooming lilac arbor, and I stop. I'm not out of breath, but I still feel my pulse quicken. I sit down beside the stoic marble bust of one of the university's founders on a short pedestal, and I look up through the vines. Oh, you want a CG of her running and tackling him? Yes. 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 That's what we want. Running and tackling him like a linebacker. Perhaps Ambrose was right. There are things I might miss if I rush too quickly straight ahead. We got him! We caught him! He's so cute. He really does look just like his brother.
The flowers are lovely here.
Girl! That's what you're gonna say.
Hi! Nice weather we're having. Nice flowers. You look real, I like your necktie thing, whatever that is, your ribbons. Yes!
They only bloom for a day or two. They'll be gone once the storm passes through. Beside me, Elm's face is just as graven and dark as the statues keeping watch throughout the garden. His voice doesn't carry a tremor, and it's softer than usual, almost weary. Of course, he's weary. Exactly, we're buttering him up.
A shame then. I'm sure Ambrose wouldn't mind if we cut a few to keep before the wind carries them off.
Whether the headmaster minds or not, I don't think your brother would let you steal the gardener's shears again. The next thought doesn't form completely in my mind. Elm and I both linger uncomfortably for a moment. Elm tenses briefly as I reach up. For now, I'll have to do without asking about Rowan. I pinch the stem of a lilac high on the arbor, twist it swiftly, and snap it off the vine. I offer it to Elm, rightly proud of myself.
I'm so proud of myself because I picked a flower and I gave it to Elm. I don't need to steal anyone's shears, fortunately.
It seems you don't, Lucy.
Ah, he's smiling. At least a little, which is significant for someone like him.
Which is significant for a couturier. So, Elm takes a slow breath. You heard that my father died the night before last?
Yes, I'm sorry.
No, it's not. I didn't expect it. I thought it wouldn't happen for decades more. My father wasn't the most present man. He worked from before sunup to long after sundown, week upon week. He especially threw himself into work over the past several years. I always thought he would work away his grief in time. I wanted to talk to him. It was today that we were supposed to meet.
You don't have to say more than you'd like. If you do want to talk about your father, though, I've got a better set of ears than the Founders.
I tilt my head toward the marble bust beside us and Elm chuckles lightly. They are attentive, at least. With some effort, Elm rises to his feet and accepts the lilac I plucked as he does. The sight of him bringing the petals up to his nose, smiling at the scent, and then placing the flower in his breast pocket is unexpectedly beautiful. We're in love! I'm sorry I've been avoiding you and Cecil lately. Would you like to walk with me for a while?
What? Oh, yes. By all means.
Yes, we want to go on a walk. Thank you for the flower and coming to find me.
I hope you didn't expect I'd let you languish here on your own. Cecil would have come with me too, but he had something urgent to attend.
Something which I'm going to ask him about tonight. Why did he rush off like that?
These vines are so old and well tended. I doubt even a hurricane could stop them from blooming year after year.
If only it were that easy for us. I can hear bitterness pulling down Elm's quiet laughter. We walk on through the garden, and soon through the university gates and into town. I take Elm's arm once we're in the midst of the afternoon crowds. He's always a little stiff in these moments. I think he's never been accustomed to human touch. He's told me that he doesn't dislike it in theory, but when anyone else touches his arm or shoulder, it makes him keenly aware of his own body in a way he's rarely pleased with. I suppose I can understand. I've heard some people experience this when they turn into vampires and suddenly have a heightened awareness of themselves, including any misgivings or anxieties they might have. Is he a vampire? In Elm's case, though, I always wondered if it wasn't just that he spent so much time in his own mind that he rarely gives his body a second thought. But he's letting us hold his arm. That's because we're special. Time slips by us slowly, as if we're swimming against its flow, walking slowly as the sun drops toward the rooftops of Laurenburg. Once 3 summers passed, Cecil and I walked with Elm through these streets. I forget if we even had a goal or if we were just enjoying a carefree afternoon browsing the storefronts and window displays. We stopped by a clockmaker in one of those old shops with yellowed windows and a faded sign above the door. The brass handle on its entrance was smooth and warm from the weight of thousands of hands. Elm stood there, transfixed and singularly focused on an open pendulum clock with its shifting gears. A small city moved around its base with porcelain carriages and ladies beneath lace parasols shifting at each quarter hour. "Look at it, you two," he barely spoke above a whisper. "Isn't it wondrous to see every part laid out and fitted together so finely?" Cecil eagerly agreed, and the two spent a fair while excitedly chattering about the marvels of precision engineering, though Elm didn't seem as taken with the fine embellishments. Rather than the decoration on each piece, Elm stared at the whole mechanism as if he were gazing at the night and mapping every star. It's laid out and plain to see, every piece and part in harmony. I can almost hear his words from all those years past, as clear as the chime of that clock. How, poetic he is. He's certainly a strange fellow, but a reliable friend and a steady presence. Perhaps that's why seeing him so shocked has left me unnerved as well. Oh my gosh, Bride! I love him. He's poetic, he's gentle, he's thoughtful, he's stoic, he's adorable, he's wonderful. I love him. We made the right decision, Asuna. Bride! Up ahead of us, a young couple walks away from an alleyway stall with absolute glee. A middle-aged man with a brilliant sapphire necklace and matching cufflinks is waving goodbye to his last customers and beckons Elm over with the same motion. His table is full of rings and pendants, all set with enormous gems, which is why I'm confident he's a thief or a counterfeiter. The middle-aged vendor. Middle-aged vendor, who's probably about the same age as jitterrue. Ha ha ha, yes, welcome. You two seem to be enjoying yourselves, so why not get something for your Beau there? Ah, my dog's name is Beau. My jaw nearly drops, but mostly because of the quality of the gems in front of me. There's a topaz nearly the size of my thumb, and without a single impurity. I would, but I forgot my wallet. A blatant lie. And why did he think I was the Beau? Oh, come on now. You might think these are a prince's treasure, but I assure you they're more reasonable than you expect. You can afford them. You see, sir and madam, these are all reconstructed rubies. We've concocted them in test tubes and grown them to tremendous size, all for less than a miner's monthly wage. Yes, Beau Doggy is a good Beau. He's a good boy. Yes, you are.
Thank you, but we'll be on our way.
Reconstructed rubies? Ah, caught your eye. Yes. You see, these are a marvel of modern scientific ingenuity.
I'm familiar. Elm, I've borrowed a book on the process if you'd like to see it, back at the campus library.
They are lovely. Oh no. It looks like he's taken with a pair of ruby hairpins and hasn't caught my meaning. She's like, don't waste your money. They're not good enough for you. Yes, indeed. A perfect pair of identical hairpins. See how finely the silver filigree fits the precise cut of the ruby, like stars blossoming on a vine. Wow. The perfect gift for a lady with beautiful hair. Truly a lovely set, wouldn't you say? You know, she does have beautiful hair.
They'd be lovelier if one of them wasn't fake.
Calling him out. You know what? Don't be selling fake stuff and try and pass it off as real. I thought I'd muttered under my breath too quiet for anyone but Elm to hear, but judging by the color now draining from his face, I must have been louder than I intended. The vendor squints at me and leans far over the table, thrusting the hairpins towards me. Young miss, why not try them on?
No, thank you.
Wait, the gems may well be synthetic, but the settings here are finely crafted. And that's a high grade of silver too. The ornamentation on one hairpin is worth more than he's charging for the pair. So it's not a scam, okay? It's worth it. I, for one, have lots of jewelry that's fake. I like it and I bought it because it looks good. That's why. Lucy. Aha, I see, yes. You're taken by their beauty as well, aren't you? Go ahead. Try them on. I guarantee you, I've got the finest synthesized gems in all the city.
No, you haven't.
What was that now? Just as I thought. His cheery demeanor only held up while he thought we might still be gullible. He's traded out his honeyed flattery for a sailor's rasp. Unfortunately for him, I've spent weeks reading the latest chemical research into synthesizing gems. Unfortunately for both of us, really. He's either a thief or a counterfeiter. And either way, he's drastically overestimating just how large synthetic gems can grow with the latest techniques.
If I'm not mistaken, I think some of these pieces are worth far more than you're asking. You should get them appraised, otherwise I'm afraid you might be losing a fortune.
It's because not of the gems that are fake, but the silver and stuff.
Thank you for the offer, but we'll be on our way.
So he is a shyster. Elm has shaken out the distraction on his face, and he shoots up a glance. And he shoots up a glare at the vendor before we walk away. Now you listen here. Ow! He's grabbing my wrist with a vice grip. Don't grab my wrist. I heard you slander my goods. Apologize.
Should I apologize for being too generous? Clearly you don't know what you've got in your hands.
Let go of her. Elm immediately wrests the man's arm away and stands between the two of us. It's amusing to see the older man shrivel under Elm's gaze. I didn't realize he would be so intense, if I'm being honest. They stare at one another down for a moment before the vendor, or thief, more likely, lowers his hands and steps back. Elm just protected us. Lucy, let's go.
Yes, and quickly.
Elm turns down the street and I glance back at the likely thief as we go. I only notice the glint of a blade when he's already rushing up to Elm. Wait, what? What? The thief? Watch out! Oh my god! What's happening? The man lunges and Elm pushes me aside. A guttural shout fills the alley and no! No! Elm staggers. No! He's holding the man back as he winces in pain. He looks over to me and my blood chills until I hear the metallic clatter of the knife falling against the pavement. Apologize, you brats! It's magnificent to watch in a way. Elm twists the man's wrist around, cinches an arm behind his back with those tacky sapphire cufflinks shining in the afternoon sun, and shoves him away with indifference. Wow, Elm is a BA. He makes it look almost effortless. He kicks the knife into an open sewage grate and hurries over to meet me. I'm desperate to get back to the shade of the campus gardens. Wow. Elm. Bride!
Well, that's more activity than I expected for one afternoon.
Are you all right?
Are you? I was worried you'd be stabbed.
There's a lot of stabbing in otome games. Elm glances down at himself, as if he hadn't thought to check until now to see if there was blood blooming on his shirt. I seem to be fine. He had a poor grip. I'm not sure he wanted to hurt me, only intimidate us.
He could have killed you. He deserves more than an imprint on the street on his face.
Is nobody going to call the coppers? Are you not going to call the police? This man tried to murder Elm right in front of us. There are witnesses in the middle of broad daylight. What the heck? No one's calling the cops.
And thank you. I may have antagonized him too much. Not that he had an even temper to begin with.
Girl! Don't apologize for that. You called him out, okay? He was being forceful, okay? He was trying to make you buy the thing. And when you were about to walk away, and then he attacked you. Don't make excuses for him. I may have antagonized. No, stop that. Elm smiles back at me, just for a moment, before a thought distracts him and pulls his attention away. The street vendor couldn't possibly have had actual synthetic gems, could he? Actual synthetic. He's likely guilty of more than just a momentary outburst in any case. Those were lovely hairpins, though.
Suspiciously lovely. Those gems were clearly fake, and he admitted as much. The settings were genuine. What was his game? I haven't heard of any schemes of that sort. Perhaps Ambrose or Nemo might have heard something about this.
We're finally back in the campus gardens, thankfully. The cool breeze and gentle shade are relief. Elm's still quiet. He's been staring into the distance for some time now.
Well, shall we return inside then?
My family. I haven't had the best relationship with the rest of my family for a few years now. See, that's why he didn't want to talk about them, girl. It was none of your business. You didn't get along, just like Asuna said earlier. It's nothing intriguing or scandalous. My father devoted himself to his work above all else, as I said. And since my mother died, he's barely shared a living space with me, let alone a meal. And my brother? Elm's eyes dart away, as if he can't help but glance toward the forest and the horizon. He's a fine person. His voice is clearly strained. There's more to this, of course, but I don't want to press him further right now. I may have been too aggressive in questioning him this morning. You were. Too focused on the shock of learning of Douglas's death and Elm's relation to him. Too oblivious to the pain it was causing Elm. Finally, she thinks about that. I'm sorry for not telling you about them.
It's well within your right. You don't have to say anything. If you'd rather not, you don't have to say any more.
Finally, girl! Yeah, you know what, MC? I'm glad you finally, you didn't exactly apologize, but your head's in the right place now. He nods slightly, and for a time, we simply stand beneath the arbor of lilac blossoms. He can tell you when he's ready. Tomorrow, I'll meet Rowan and discuss a potential business partnership. I should likely ask around about that strange vendor, too, in case there's something stirring in the city's jewelry market. For now, however, I can't seem to focus on anything but the odd distance in Elm's face. It's as though he's gone away and left himself here while he visits a memory. A bell chimes and signals the top of the hour, breaking us both free from the garden's claim. Breaking us both free from the garden's calm. I've got to prepare for my meeting with Rowan, still, and I'm curious to hear if there's been any word on why the Coppers are so interested in Douglas's death. I've got another class, Lucy. His hand slides over mine as he gently pulls his arm away from mine. Thank you for finding me here today.
Of course.
We're down bad.
Don't leave me. Never leave me.
I must look like an utter fool, being flustered so easily. Elm's voice is so soothing. I almost forgot myself for a moment.
I've got preparations of my own, so we'll speak again tomorrow. Take care, Elm.
He nods, though I'm not sure he heard me completely. Night falls quickly, and then seems to stretch on for ages. Though, through Ambrose's dinner of cow vin, and beyond my hurried scrawling on ledger paper in the low lamplight. What is that? Dinner of something. Cow vin? I've never seen that word in my life, or that phrase. I fall into bed just before midnight with very little to show for the hours I spent poring over my correspondence with Douglas. I feel like getting attacked by the vendor was traumatizing, and we don't seem to care about that enough. Why did nobody call the cops on that dude? My mind keeps wandering as I read his letters again, as much to Elm in his grief as to the strange suddenness of Douglas's death. And what if that weren't enough to contend with? And if that weren't enough to contend with, the odd wares from that vendor this afternoon still bother me a good deal. The wares bother you more than the behavior. Focus. I need to clear my thoughts, or I won't be prepared for negotiations with Rowan tomorrow. I can only hope that sleep finds me soon. The early dawn light casts Rowan and Elm's Manor home in a stark silhouette. Its main gate stands wide open, and its fences are low. It was the style in centuries past, when they were still made of stones quarried from the local cliffsides. A pair of tall cypress trees greet me as I approach the front door, planted on each side of the moss-laden path. The hedges surrounding the main house are trimmed, though not recently, and the grounds orderly, but without much ornamentation. The light mist lingering over my feet and the dew clinging to the grass make me feel as if I'm sinking further into the earth with each step. It's quieter than the city proper, which isn't much of a surprise given how close the estate is to the dense forests that surround Laurenburg. All of this is well and fine, but the house is still dark, and I can't see any sign of movement within. In fact, peering into their dining room now, it looks like they haven't used it in weeks.
Well, I suppose Rowan must take breakfast later than most people.
Maybe he's a vampire, and he sleeps in all day. No, he's quite an early riser.
What? Who's there? Don't just sneak up behind people like that. The gall!
Oh, forgive me. I didn't mean to startle you. You must be Miss Lucy, I take it. That's old man voice. A gentle, almost grandfatherly voice issues from a spindly older man standing on the manor steps. He's wearing an old but well-tailored suit, and his smile is almost invisible behind a bushy mustache. Williford. I'm Williford, a family friend. I suppose that's the best way to put it now. Douglas was my closest friend for years, and now, as you see... His voice trembles slightly, and he covers the slight crack in his composure with a forced smile. Well, come inside by all means. Rowan has told me that he's expecting you, and he should be along shortly. The boys are a bit short-handed with the suddenness of it all, I'm afraid.
Yes, I can imagine. Thank you, Mr. Williford. Are you staying with them presently?
No. As much as I'd like to, I'm assisting them as best I can with the passing of their father. Rowan insists he's got everything under control, but I wish he'd take more time to mourn properly. I can't imagine what those boys must have felt to see their father in such a horrible state. He shakes his head, as if trying to shake an image out of his memory. Well, let's talk of happier things for now, at least. I'd be happy to show you the parlor while Rowan finishes his breakfast.
Thank you, that would be lovely.
He seems like a kindly older gentleman, though I can tell he must be exhausted from the weight of his steps and the dark circles beneath his eyes. I don't doubt that Douglas's death came as a shock to him as well, and he's likely been scrambling to help the twins reconcile all their father's outstanding business and his funeral plans on top of it all. Do Rowan and Elm have no other family? I remember Elm mentioned that his mother died when he was young. Though I'm surprised Williford is the only one here to help in the wake of their father's death. Williford guides me past a grand oaken staircase and into a small but pleasant parlor. In contrast to the rather plain front lawn, Douglas clearly spent a great deal of time and effort furnishing this room before death. His portrait, painted in oils and stretched across a grand canvas, hangs above the mantel. Even after his death, he continues to look over this room and all who pass through it. The latest electrical fixtures adorn the wall, and the chairs are all neatly upholstered, similar to those in his office waiting room. In fact, their patterns and design are identical. I'm not eager to spend long sitting in another of those armchairs, waiting alone as the clock ticks onward. Please make yourself comfortable. I'm happy to accompany you here or fetch a refreshment if you'd like.
No, thank you, though. I'm sure Rowan will be along shortly.
The walls are largely decorated with newly framed and recently painted works, primarily from local artists, doing studies of Laurenburg's coastline, or the majesty of the sea at dusk. All except for the largest painting, hanging above the unlit fireplace and dominating the room with its presence. An aged hand-carved frame barely constrains a canvas nearly as tall as myself. Violent swirls of deep indigo and stark white hues form the image of an ancient seaside village buried under a suffocating blanket of snow. Every light in every window is blazing. Every tree is bowed low against the wind, and in the center of the town it almost looks as if a small child lays frozen and still, just a few paces from the warmth. It's unnerving, to say the least, beautifully crafted, but completely at odds with the rest of the room's decor. Ah, I see you've noticed the masterpiece. I see you've noticed the centerpiece.
Yes, it's beautiful, though it seems a bit
Dreadful. It is, of course. Do you know that village there is Laurenburg? The Laurenburg of nearly 3 centuries ago.
Do you mean that this is a scene from the city's history?
Williford chuckles lightly. He seems thankful for the distraction, grim as it is. I could tell you the story of it if you'd like to hear. Well, I am curious. I'd also like to settle business with Rowan sooner rather than later, but I haven't heard so much as a stir from the rest of the household.
Yes, please tell me. I didn't originally grow up here, so I'm not well versed in local history.
Ah, yes. This was one of Douglas's favorite stories to tell over fireside chats. I think I remember the meat of it, and if not, at least the bones. Our families have lived in the area since the earliest days of Laurenburg, perhaps even before its founding, though records of that time are scarce. In those days, the forest stretched nearly to the seaside, and houses were often built from the very trees that were cleared to make way for their foundations. The inlets were always rich with shellfish and other bounty, and I'm sure you've heard of the city's origins as a waypoint for merchants traveling the coastline. It's all but forgotten now, but back then, there was a pretty quarrel among neighbors. There was a petty quarrel among neighbors that gave several families cause to uproot from their homes in the center of the town and strike out for the heart of the nearby forest. For several weeks, they flitted between the forest's edge and the market square, gathering materials and supplies to last the winter. At first frost, they loudly announced their departure and that they intended to quit Laurenburg for good. In some stories, it was just a single family, mind you, but in others, there were nearly 50 individuals in the party. At any rate, the rest of the village quickly forgot the quarrel that spurred their neighbors to self-imposed exile, and with the chill of winter descending, few people paid the departed group much mind. Now you must understand, if you've not ventured deep within the forests outside of the city, you may not realize just what density of ravines and sheer hillsides can be hidden behind a layer of sparse heather. As with most coastal forests, a deep bog occupies much of the lowest elevations, and so the firm sort of ground with which you might build a house or even pitch a tent is difficult to find there. In these days, we have well-cleared paths and scenic areas for picnicking and excursions. But back then, it was largely untrodden and wholly unsettled territory. This man has a lot to say. So you see, we know how things started out for this group, and we know most likely how they ended. But we know very little of what happened during the first 5 weeks of winter before everything came to its dreadful conclusion. As I'm sure you're aware of by now, Laurenburg has mild weather most of the year, but we're prone to fierce blizzards coming from the north and terrible storms washing in from the sea or upriver. That year, a powerful winter storm piled snow deep as your shins across the ground in a single night. And with the winds keeping up through the day, most folks kept indoors until it ran its course. It was at the height of this storm, with the wind raging so bitterly it would sting your eyes like vinegar simply to stand outside, that a child ran out of the forest, trudged through the deep snow, and threw themselves against the nearest door frame. It was dark, but not yet full nightfall, and most of the townsfolk heard the child's cries for help and pleas for shelter. An innkeeper with a clear doorway brought the child inside as quickly as they could, but the poor thing was suffering from frostbite in the limbs and odd wounds across their hands and neck. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Origin story of vampires, perhaps? Even stranger was the story the child muttered as they sat bundled by the fireside, a desperate and broken story that you can hear told in a dozen ways if you search the archives, I'm sure. In every version, however, the child said that their parents, the other adults, and every member of their family was gone, taken by the fairies of the wood, allegedly. Fairies are very mischievous. No one present got any greater clarity on the matter, as most were fixed on helping the child recuperate. Unfortunately, the combination of malnourishment, frigid cold, and their still bleeding wounds proved fatal. In the spring, a few curious youths forged an expedition into the forest to see what became of the small settlement, but they never found any trace of habitation there. If there weren't such clear records of the events and of that child's return in the midst of the blizzard, it would be more reasonable to assume there was never any attempt to settle in the forest at all. For some time, tales of creatures and strange beings stalking the trees pervaded the town's imagination. These days, there's little trace of those superstitions beyond nursery rhymes, but this painting is an artifact of that era. It's an unsettling piece, yes, but it's deeply ingrained with the history of the town, and perhaps a reminder that even the most brazen vampires have kept shy of the deepest woods throughout the years. Williford finishes his story with a decisive clap. Finally! He finally finishes his story. And as he does, I hear another clap join in response. That was a marvelous rendition, Uncle Williford. You aren't trying to charm my future business partner away now, are you? Oh, the nerve of this boy. Was he waiting all this time just to make that entrance? Oh ho ho, I wouldn't dream of it. No, just relaying the story of this old portrait. Forgive me. I think I may need to sit a moment. He needs to sit after all of that. That was quite the story. It was an epic tale. Rowan laughs and pats the older man on the shoulder. You ought to lie down. You've been running around without pause for the last couple of days. Eat. Take a rest. Elm and I will be more than all right, I promise you. Yes, perhaps I ought to. Feel free to borrow one of the guest rooms upstairs if you'd like, and take care of yourself, please. Thank you, I think I shall. He seemed sincere in his concern, at least. He called him Uncle Williford, too. I wonder if Rowan is close with him. Well, in any event, I know what I'm here for.
Rowan, it's a pleasure to see you again.
Likewise, Miss Lucy. Shall we continue our discussion over a morning stroll?
Yes, by all means, please, lead the way.
We must stroll with all of these cutie pie love interests. And please try not to... And please, try to focus on the discussion at hand rather than distracting me with flirtation. We were correct, Asuna. We guessed that he'd be a flirt, and he was. We were correct. Before we ever met him, we were like, I bet he's a flirt.
This is a charming estate. Has it always been in your family?
For generations, I believe. All but a few of our distant relatives left the city long ago. But I'm told we have an illustrious past and heritage.
You don't seem particularly interested in that history from the sound of it.
I'm certain I will be in time, but there are a few more pressing matters on my mind at present. I've gone from assisting my father to taking on everything we once divided amongst ourselves. But nothing so important as meeting with you, Lucy. Really? Really? Good. I can see he's got his mind on business. Y'all, oh my God.
I can imagine it's been quite hectic. I trust you've reviewed all my correspondences with your father.
I have. You've got lovely penmanship, you know.
Thank you, though I was hoping to discuss the content of my letters rather than their styling. Your family business is quite impressive, both in terms of the jewelry your father crafted and the connections your family has forged.
Ah, yes. My father had a fine talent for setting gems, and I've got a good eye for quality myself. He's flashing a brazen smirk at me. Does this family have any business sense beyond flattery or flirtation?
That's good to hear. As I mentioned in my letter, I'm looking for a reliable partner who can help me procure, assess, and cut gems of extremely high purity.
Why is my nose itching right here so much? Maybe I have a hair right there.
Your father was confident in his suppliers and his own skill. It's a shame he's no longer with us.
Yes, it is. Rowan nods in affirmation and quickly hops a low garden wall, continuing to walk along the other side as we make our way across the grounds. I can promise you, though, I'm more than capable of leading our family's enterprises. Tell me, Miss Lucy, do you have any interest in teas?
Tea? It is enjoyable, yes. Is this another one of your family's ventures? I seem to recall that you all maintain ownership of a few retail establishments.
Oh, yes, but that's not why I ask. I recently came into possession of a magnificently light rose tea, and I was hoping you might like to try a cup. A delicious tea at the center of an afternoon meal is like a beautiful gem in a fine setting, isn't it? Girl, if I have learned nothing but one thing in otome games, it's this. If I have learned anything from otome games, it's never drink the tea. If a love interest comes to you all flirty and sweet, and he's like, oh, why don't you stay over for tea? I'll brew it for you. I'll serve it to you. Girl, don't drink it. Never drink the tea.
That's so paltry. So astute of you, Rowan.
I'm smiling through clenched teeth. I need to calm down. I can't believe I'm letting myself get so irritated over Rowan's smug expression. I could start a pot right now, in fact. Delightful tea and good company can do as much for your health as any medicine.
Thank you, but I'm quite all right for the moment. Since you've mentioned medicine, however, I take it you're familiar with the proposal your father and I discussed regarding the cure for vampirism, then?
Yes. He turns and grips the garden wall with both hands, beaming up at me. Truly astonishing. I gasped when I read the details in your letters. Is it truly so effective?
I'm living proof, if you have any doubts. It's just as simple as taking any concoction from a chemist, and it's entirely reliable. It would change the lives of so many if they knew they had a choice to live as a human or a vampire rather than being forced into one way of life. Don't you agree?
Yes, it's a magnificent development. You'll have to tell me the story of how you came up with it.
Gladly. Though perhaps another time. It's a long story, and I'd rather not stray too far off track.
Well then, I'll look forward to that in our future meetings. I'm excited to carry on my father's work. mostly particularly with you.
Stop. Excited, he seemed sincere enough, though there's something uncanny about his manner. When we first met, he claimed that he'd been prepared for his father's death for years, but even so, he seems altogether too eager. If he really is so unaffected, then he probably won't mind if I satisfy my curiosity. My condolences again. I hope things aren't too hard on you in the wake of your father's absence.
It's nothing I can't manage, though I do wish he was here to help me through it all.
I imagine the coppers haven't been any comfort. I was shocked to see so many there in your father's office in town.
Ah, yes. Rowan smiles, but he also hesitates. I suspect it's just a precaution on their part. As I mentioned, one of our colleagues, Mr. Fairfield, was attacked and killed recently.
Yes, so I've heard. I'm not sure I follow, though. Apart from being business associates, what would your father's death and Mr. Fairfield have in common?
Well, this is all the coppers' speculation, and I don't give it much credit. But some years ago, my father and his closest colleagues clashed with a ring of counterfeiters here in the city. The ringleaders of that group are all stuck firmly behind bars, however, so I doubt it was an act of revenge.
Counterfeiters? Yes, I think I recall reading about that in the papers. I had no idea Douglas was involved in apprehending them, though.
He was instrumental in it, in fact. That's why I'm confident that the coppers are making a fuss over nothing. My father outwitted that band of criminals at the peak of their influence, so I don't think the dregs of their organization could have possibly gotten the better of him.
I remember the story vaguely. A few years ago, not long after I arrived in Laurenburg, the papers were abuzz with news about a criminal conspiracy of jewelry thieves, hucksters selling fraudulent gems, and vandals intimidating local businesses into silence. Eventually, the police announced that they'd apprehended the leaders organizing the group, though they never recovered the stolen wares or ill-gotten gains. If Douglas was involved in uncovering the counterfeiters' crimes, that would certainly make him a target for their ire. I see. I apologize for bringing up such an unpleasant subject.
No, it's no trouble at all. I don't want you to have any uncertainties or misgivings about our future partnership. Please, by all means, ask me anything you'd like.
In that case, you've read through the business proposal I presented to Douglas, haven't you? I'd like to go over the finer points of our market projections and the surplus needed for reliable distribution.
Forgive me, Miss Lucy.
Rowan holds up a hand as he shakes his head slowly.
I'd much rather we forego any of those details today. After all, as I said before, you have me at a disadvantage. We barely know one another. I'm sure you've gotten some reservations about partnering with a man you've only met 2 days ago, no matter how charming and meeting might have been.
I know. Even though I'm charming and you're in love with me at first sight.
Let's not talk about those details.
He's not wrong, but he's making his point in the most annoying way possible. Yes, that's more than reasonable.
Marvelous.
He hops back over the low wall and dusts himself off with a smile.
Let's head down this path here. There's a wonderful view through the trees back this way.
2 days is perfect. Marriage time. 2 days. Let's just get married. I just met you. Hey, I just met you, and this is crazy, but let's get married tomorrow maybe. Rowan gestures to a small footpath that runs parallel to the forest. Rowan gestures. Oh, man, that tripped me up.
The trees here are old, perhaps even older than the city itself. As we walk on, I notice beams of sunlight filtering through the leaves and dancing like silk on the wind. I'm still not sure what to make of Rowan, but he was right. It's a lovely view. Tomorrow's too far away. Wedding in 25 minutes. Let's go. Let's just get married right now. I've been wondering, Miss Lucy, is your family from Laurenburg originally?
No, they're originally from further north, but I came to live here with my older brother and his husband 5 years ago.
No, you've got an older brother.
Yes, not by blood, but Nemo is the only family I really have left now.
Oh, not by blood. It sounds like you're fond of him. I'd love to meet him sometime.
With any luck, you won't.
He laughs again, and I'm not thrilled that I find his amusement so endearing. He is super cute. We've got a refreshing wit. You've got a refreshing wit, Lucy.
And yet you still seem to be running out of steam.
So pointed. You might draw blood with words like those.
Wait a moment.
A patch of crimson catches my eye. Through a gap in the forest brush, I see a bed of lupines growing in a close circle around the stump of a great dead oak. I've never seen lupine in such a vibrant shade of red.
Do you see those flowers there?
Flowers? I'm not sure I do.
I'd like to take one, if you don't mind. I'll just be a moment.
Stop! Before I can take even a single step off the path, Rowan grabs my arm and pulls me away from the forest's edge. I'd be furious if he didn't look so apologetic. My apologies, that was rash of me. But please take care not to wander into the forest, Miss Lucy.
You're starting to sound like Nemo, I assure you. I'm not so delicate as those flowers, and I won't get lost in less than 10 paces.
Rowan laughs, though he doesn't sound amused. Well, I'm sure you'd be more than all right, Miss Lucy. I was only worried because I couldn't tell just how far you were planning to go, even that there's a sheer cliff not too far in that direction. Are you making an excuse or are you for real right now? Have a good dinner! Thank you for hanging out! Thank you!
Is there? In that case, thank you for your concern. I was only planning to...
Miss Lucy. That's odd. I can't seem to catch sight of those flowers anymore, nor the dead tree they surrounded. This is a demo, y'all. It's still... Wow! This demo? I can't believe this is a demo. I was expecting a long time ago that it was going to be like, cliffhanger! This is the end of the demo. I'm so shocked.
It's nothing. Shall we head back toward the manor?
Of course. I apologize again if I startled you.
Not so much as a tumble down a sheer cliff might have.
Though I did start late, and I spent a long time ranting and raving. That happened.
I never realized the forest outside of the city held such hazards.
In some parts, yes. The well-worn trails are pleasant and the shade offers some protection from the summer sun. Though it's not without its dangers. Some years ago, a pair of children went missing on such a trek, and it took days to find them. Wait a moment. I think I see Elm on his way over the hill. Elm! There he is! Following Rowan's gaze, I glance back at the house and see Elm hurrying down the front steps. Rowan rushes to intercept him, and even at this distance, I can tell that Elm flinches when Rowan throws an arm around his shoulders. There they are together. Lucy, I believe you know my brother Elm. Elm, you know the lovely Miss Lucy, don't you? Elm shrugs off his brother's arm and his eyes dart away. Yes, we're acquainted. Wonderful. I do wish you'd told me sooner. We could have invited her over for dinner, and I hope she might still consider an invitation. Lucy. Elm looks to me with a deep apprehension in his eyes, and then he turns toward the manor. I'll see you later in class. Wait, Elm! You've hardly just arrived home. Stay and chat with us for a bit longer. I don't want to interrupt. You're in the middle of business, aren't you? Well, yes, but not really. We were just kind of walking around in the woods and flirting. Another time, then. I mean, he was flirting. Elm practically ducks away from Rowan and makes for the manor in a hurry. Rowan pushes along behind him for a moment, but he gives up the chase after a few paces. He trots back toward me, looking for all the world like a sullen horse caught in a storm. Forgive my brother. He's been a bit distant and out of sorts lately.
Yes, I've noticed that as well. I'm sure your father's death has been hard on him these past few days. Rowan's eyebrow rises as he looks at me.
This isn't recent, unfortunately. We haven't spoken much for the past few... It feels like months, now that I think on it. He sighs, and for the first time I think I see Rowan truly and utterly at a loss. I'm sorry. Not really sure what's on his mind. Please, if you do hear anything from him, let me know.
Of course.
I wonder why Elm doesn't get along with his brother. Why? What's the problem? You know, his brother seems like he wants to be friendly enough with Elm. I don't get this. Something must have happened. I don't know what the beef is. I barely registered his words. Why has Elm grown so distant from his brother? I thought it was only a result of grief, but it seems the roots of his reticence go back much further than the recent tragedy of his father's death. Well, yeah, that's what he said earlier.
Thank you again for having me here today.
Ah, naturally. It was a pleasure, Lucy. Shall we meet again soon? I'm eager to continue our negotiation. I bet you are. He flashes a reckless grin. He's got no shortage of confidence, at least, even if his idea of business negotiations is patently dubious. Well, let's see. I think we should get to know each other. Ooh, we could be like, let's get to know each other better. Or yes, so long as we keep it focused on business. Oh my gosh. Do I want to hit on him and start his route? Or do I want to focus on the brother? It doesn't matter, I suppose. You know what? I'm into his brother. That's the one I really want to flirt with. So we're going to focus on business.
Yes, so long as we keep the focus on business. Can I hold you to that?
Rowan's smile remains unshaken, but his eyes seem more distant as he clasps his hands together. As you wish, Miss Lucy. I'll do my level best to oblige you.
How soon would you like to resume our conversation?
Listen, okay, his brother protected us from that huckster with a knife. Real. Well, you could drop by tomorrow if you'd like. Just send word along and I'll be happy to receive you. Williford might try to help again, but heaven knows that man's going to work himself into an early grave dealing with his grief. One funeral is enough for now, I think. Rowan chuckles, though. I can tell he's feigning that detached air. He seems truly anxious that Williford might die. I wonder if he's closer to him than he was to Douglas.
Please thank him again. He was a gracious host. I enjoyed his folktale.
That, yes, I'd be glad to. His voice breaks, but he's papering over it with laughter. I swear I saw his fists clench for a moment there. Does he have a distaste for that old legend? He's like, girl, that wasn't a folktale, that was real life. He'll be happy to hear that. Well, until we meet again, Lucy.
Yes. Yes, until we meet again. Take care, Rowan.
Thank you for playing the demo for Crimson Waves on the Emerald Sea, Amaranthine Moon. Oh my gosh, this is so good. Y'all, it's on Steam, okay. Wishlist it on Steam. I think I put the link to it in the description. I'm definitely gonna go wishlist it. I am, tonight, for sure, if I haven't already. But after playing that demo, I'm invested. I wanna know what's gonna happen with MC and this whole vampire situation. I wanna know what's gonna happen with the brothers. I wanna know what the beef is between the twins. I wanna know what really happened to their father, you know? What's up with the guy in the mask too, you know? The Phantom of the Opera looking dude. Is he one of the love interests just like trying to pretend? Or is he a totally different guy? Is he a secret root? I have so many questions. I really liked the art of this. I loved the music. I loved the style. I liked how poetic and beautiful the writing was too. It was really well written. And it's a mystery. So I can't say enough good things about this. Honestly, too, I really enjoy this. I love demos that are there. It's like the perfect length for a stream. You know what I mean? Because it gave you a whole arc. You know, you got to meet the love interest, get to know their personalities. We got to have walks with these guys and have complete scenes. It gave us enough of a taste of the game that we can really start to get excited about it. So I thought it was a great demo. And there's more to this demo. I think based on what decisions that I made, I could have had more scenes with Cecil, for example, or more scenes with some of the other characters. So there's definitely replay value in this demo, and a lot happened. I was really happy with that. This is fun. I like this a lot. I like it a lot. Good job, Crystal. Good job, Crystal Games.